So good morning, everybody here in the room. Our online community, welcome. And it's funny, I'm looking up there where you are, but actually we see you here. It's kind of us. It takes, kind of shift in consciousness to realize that you're bilocating at some level. I just want to share a couple of things. One is that without your generosity, we couldn't do this. So I want to encourage you to do whatever you can to become a member of Upaya. It makes it possible for all the online work that we do, every single day, to happen. And that is not inconsequential. But also your donations in this program support our teachers and make an enormous difference in what we can do to make it possible for Valerie, Terry, and Rebecca to continue to shine in the world in the way that they do. And we have loved being together. It's one of those kind of alchemy surprises that happens occasionally when certain kinds of people come together, and we feel your commitment, and our commitment actually is to extend this work, and we will come back next year at this time to drop into continue this work that we're doing together. It will be at this time. And as you are aware, for on-site, we had to turn many people away. And we just encourage you to, let us know as soon as possible if you wish to be on-site again. And then my final housekeeping announcement is just enormous appreciation for the respect that you have shown and appreciation you have shown toward our residents. Really. Many of them are very young people. And there is a kind of intergenerational thing that happens here, which has me constantly learning. And I want to encourage, as we will touch into exactly this issue, how we continue to really grow the bridges between the generations as we move forward in fostering an open democracy. Valerie.
So again, welcome, dear Thai, dear Sister Chen Kong, our dearest Roshi, to our incredible teachers, and to you, beloved community. Thank you for being here. Since I arrived here back at Upaya, I was here earlier in the year for the dedication of this building. And what an amazing ceremony and time that was. And since I arrived back, I've been thinking of several people. And I guess part of why, I was feeling a little bit of a sense of vulnerability and kind of sentimental. And I guess part of it was because I was thinking of of Dot and Lucille and Miss Helen, friends from many years ago when I worked at the Chalfont Hotel. And Miss Helen, who was said to make the best fried chicken in all of Jersey. And Miss Helen's daughters, Dot and Lucille. And one of the things that they taught me was in frying chicken, you got to put love into it. That was a secret. Who knew? And so feeling sentimental as well as feeling vulnerable, yesterday I woke up and I said, that's right, this is my 69th birthday. Here I am, I'm still here. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Valerie. Happy birthday to you. Woo-hoo. Just saying. So I woke up and I was feeling this weird combination of being quite vulnerable and then quite sentimental and also a lot of joy. And then, Dot and Lucille came into my mind and Miss Helen, as well as a dear, dear friend, Vincent Harding. And some of us may know Vincent Harding. And it's been like a bell of mindfulness, Harding's words to me. I'd be walking on the path and I'd hear Dr. Harding's words. And I'd be sitting to eat something and I would hear Dr. Harding's words. And it was coming back to me over and over again. And I said in our morning meeting, really what's happening for me right now is the words of Dr. Harding. And they're both cutting, but they're both prophetic. And so I want to offer to share a man I truly admire and love, Dr. Vincent Harding, who was a beloved friend of Dr. King. And we'll hear a speech from Dr. Harding that was given, comments really, that were given at a panel discussion during the Children's Defense Fund conference. And Harding wrote many books. He was a scholar of history and the church, the Black church, a beloved friend of Dr. King, and just a really cool guy, a social activist. So without more from me, let's turn to the video. I think we have video.
Yeah,
okay.
And maybe we'll step aside so people can view.
We'll turn to the video of Dr. Harding. So this is super short, less than 2 minutes. We'll go right to it.
I am a citizen of a country that does not yet exist. That's who I see you all as being, especially you younger folks, but not confined to you younger folks. We are citizens of a country that we still have to create, a just country, a compassionate country, a forgiving country, a multiracial, multireligious country, a joyful country that cares about its children and about its elders, that cares about itself and about the world, that cares about what the earth needs as well as what individual people need. You are a citizen of a country that does not yet exist and that badly needs to exist. That's connected, you see.
Wow. So there you have it, Vincent Harding. We are a citizen of a country that does not yet exist.
Do you see that as failure or promise or both?
Both.
Because it reminded me of Nicole Hannah-Jones' words in the 1619 Project, where she said, "Our democracy's founding ideals were false when they were written. Black Americans have fought to make them true." And I think you could put a really interesting gloss on that, because they're never true everywhere. They're always true somewhere. And some of us have really loved David Wengrow and David Graeber's book, The Dawn of Everything, where they argue that the Enlightenment values the Founding Fathers sort of espoused, better than monarchy anyway, but that those Enlightenment values were not something that white people brought to North America. They're something that indigenous North Americans brought to Europeans and who would become white Americans. I'm always interested in the temporary autonomous zones, the small communities, the movements, etc., in which these things exist. I was part of Occupy Wall Street, on actual Wall Street, and as Occupy Oakland and Occupy San Francisco, visited the other ones. And there was a video of a woman, I wish I could dig up and match to this, where this old woman at Occupy Wall Street said, "We are fighting for a world in which everyone matters," which feels like both radical democracy and radical bodhisattva vow Buddhism, because I think Buddhism and ecology and ideals of democracy have in common the idea of recognizing interconnection and that everything matters. And, and I think, in a sense, I don't disagree with Harding or you or Nicole Hannah-Jones. I'm just so interested in this country as a history of both the forces of authoritarianism and radical inequality around race, around gender, around religion, around sexual orientation, and the counter forces which have struggled and won again and again. And I've always seen MAGA as backlash against how far we had come in making marriage a relationship between equals, making women equal to men, making non-Christians full participants, and in some degree greater racial equality, which is not the same thing to say full racial equality. And so the backlash is a reminder that we won some of these things, and some people don't like it, and the struggle continues. Mm-hmm. And you can go all the way back to the abolitionist and suffrage movements. You can go all the way forward to all the people working right now to make a world in which everyone matters. I think that's a Buddhist task. I think it's a democratic task. I think it's a social justice task. I think it's a feminist task, a racial equality task, a queer task, a Palestinian solidarity task, an indigenous rights task, right for children and the elderly. I love that he brought those up. And a task for everyone here and everyone everywhere. I'm thrilled to have been able to be around and part of some of these things a lot of my life. We're always told that activism is this kind of grim, eat your broccoli thing. But I have often found it a kind of drink your champagne thing, in that, okay, it's deeply, not in terms of getting drunk, but okay, could it be having your birthday cake? And that it brings you in connection with the most wonderful, most idealistic, bravest, most generous people, and your own most idealistic, bravest, most generous self. And
right.
which goes back to where I started and where I'm going to end right now, which is that taking care of the self and taking care of the world are not separate tasks. And I think that's one of the key things we're here for. So, thank you.
And I love that. Bravest and most generous. And what a clarion call that is. And I can't help, again, I guess because I'm just feeling sentimental and vulnerable both, that what's coming up for me, yet another Zen master, Grace Lee Boggs, please. Right, another Zen master. Lifting up her words, just when I want to drop those words in here, it's never about critical mass. It's about critical connectedness.
Yes.
Critical connections, right? So what are those critical connections? And I so love your words, connecting to our bravest and most generous self. It's out of that space that I see hopefulness. You know, the what you've pointed to, Rebecca, so beautifully.
I just want to briefly add that one of the things I loved about Terry's story about the flash floods was the temporary democracy, you know, and people love it when they find it. They know what to do when they're in it, which is what I learned from disasters. But the forces of inequality are so powerful, have new technologies. We're going to have to be smart and creative to continue to be effective counterbalances, and at least to sort of keep our candles lit in our refuges, our ideas alive in our communities. But people love it when they live it. They often don't have the language to, and what we don't have language for, we have a hard time valuing. I think so much of the task is making that language, circulating that language to value these things.
Yeah.
Terry. Thank you so much, everyone. And thank you for your powerful reminder of our work. Valerie and Rebecca, thank you for reminding us always the beauty that remains, the beauty that has been brought forth, and what it requires to keep the open space of democracy open. And Roshi, I just want to say publicly what we witnessed last night, your declaration of peacemaking in such a strong, powerful, vulnerable way, none of us will forget, I think it's safe to say. We began, it seems like a lifetime, doesn't it? You know, with the open space of democracy and how the heart is the first home of democracy. And I think we have certainly felt this, all of us, in these days that we have shared. What I have learned and what I am taking with me is awakened activism is awakened heart. And an awakened heart is an awakened community. And this is what keeps the open space of democracy open. And what I'm leaving behind is the story that I am an individual, that I am alone. Because I think I'm going to dare say that we have all felt that isolation. And it is so painful and hopeless. And the beloved community, even a community of 2, 3, 4, these these rooms, these 10,000 rooms, are what allow us to stay open and not closed, courageous, not fearful. And one of the things that I so value is this cross-generational work. And work for me is joy. But the cross-generational influences, the intergenerational necessity. I am 69 too, and I am mindful of the difference. So this.
You'll never know my secret. Don't get me started.
Anyway, it just bonds me even closer to you as sisters. Cross-generational relations, cross-generational pairing, cross-generational collaborations is cross-pollination, which is survival. And I just want to share in the next 20 minutes or so some personal examples of how it has impacted my life. Conservation is a generational stance. I am so mindful of who my mentors were. Ted Major, Marty Murray, I could go on and on and on. Wangari Maathai. I met her when I was 30 and it changed everything. And that they took me seriously and they cared enough to let me learn from them. And it made all the difference. And I made a vow that I would try to do the same. And it's not even a vow, because for me vows are hard to keep. But it was my joy. And so I want to give two examples. One, in 2008, a young man named Tim DeChristopher, he was barely 28 years old, a senior in economics at the University of Utah, came to a rally, a protest at the BLM office on a very winter day in December. I think it was December 8th. It's burned that deep in my mind. It was snowing. He went inside. Someone said, "Are you here to bid on the leases, the BLM leases, oil and gas leases in Utah?" And he said, "Why, yes." And so they handed him a bidder card, bidder 19. And he went in, and he knew those lands, and he knew how much he loved them, and how much they had saved him. And he also knew what was at stake with the climate as a young person. And as he saw those lands go up to bid, and what was taking place, he raised his bidder 70 card and raised the bid well past $1.8 million until the oil and gas executives realized something was happening. It's called civil disobedience, and it was closed. As you know, many of you, his story, he built a community of care, what you were saying, that people love to live it. And it was multi-generational, multi-religious, multiracial. And 2 years later, we watched the injustice of the court, where they would not allow him to speak or to tell his story as a young person of what climate collapse means to him. No one else was able to speak on his behalf, and he was sentenced on a technicality to 2 years in a federal prison. That was in 2008. He later went to the Harvard Divinity School. He is now farming, and he is one of the most active, open-hearted, broken-hearted people I know. 8 years later, my husband Brooke and I were with a community, multi-generational, multi-religious, multi-racial, and we're at a protest for the BLM, Bureau of Land Management, oil and gas leases once again. And as we went in, Brooke went in one line, I being an introvert, went into the shortest line, and I, by accident, found myself inside with the oil and gas executives. And I remembered Tim, Christopher, and I stayed. And I watched my fellow students, partners, neighbors come in, disrupt, and be dismissed. And I stayed. And one of the BLM enforcers said to me, Terry, if you are here and misrepresenting yourself, you know you could go to prison. And I said, what I know is as a citizen, I have every right to be here. And then, like Tim, being in there and hearing the kind of misogynist language of Earth as female, the rape of the Earth, the disgusting language, as Rebecca was talking about these sacred lands that I knew by name. I sat and I realized something, I had to do something. And what I also realized is I would wait until the remnant cells occurred, which is after, which meant that no oil executive could say that we had purchased leases that denied them that opportunity. There was more sexist language that I will not repeat. And when I left, it was so disorienting that I got lost. And I finally found myself outside, and Brooke was waiting, and we both knew what to do. And we walked over to the BLM office, got out the maps, found the leases that were still available. They're called remnant leases, where any American citizen can purchase them for $1.50 an acre. And so we knew that we had to be able to pay for them. And all we had was a debit card. And we bought 1,120 acres, and my math is terrible, so Brooke figured out we could afford to put that on the debit card. And we bought several leases that were in our community that we knew were critical habitat for some threatened species, both plants and animals. Long story shorter, we were denied the leases on due diligence. What we said was, we have purchased these leases and we will not develop the oil and gas leases until science can show us that the oil and gas is worth more above ground than below, given the cost of climate. We were denied our leases. We appealed the Department of Interior, and it went before the board for 6 years. They did not act on that. And then it was upheld by the BLM. But here's the thing. Tim Christopher of his generation, 8 years later, you know what we were able to do in that moment of being present. 8 years later, a ruling was made with the Bureau of Land Management and under Tracy Stone Manning's leadership, powerful woman who's heading the BLM right now. The ruling says, and I want to quote, the final ruling was April 18th, 2024. A final ruling implementing a suite of conservation policy tools and initiations directed to employ in an effort to protect natural and spaces and resource lands in the face of warming climate. The law changed. It took 16 years, and 16 years, I'm sure, before that, and 16 years before that, and on. Conservation, preservation, the things we want to defend take time, but it is a blink in the time of the earth. And it isn't even patience, it's faith, it's heart work. Not hard work, but heart work. And that ruling has been changed. That ruling is in place so that the administration that is now coming in will have to fight the law again. Because now it is legal for there to be conservation buyers. It is legal to place conservation values on federal lands in the same capacity, on the same level as oil and gas or grazing. So things do change. And we are creating the country that we want. That is an intergenerational story, and it will go on. And it's not just an intergenerational story for our species, but all species. The second story that I want to share with you is, and again, these are happy accidents. Timothy Christopher did not plan to do what he did that defined his life. Brooke and I did not do what we did that changed our life. I was fired from my job. I thought I would be in Utah for the rest of my life, but my soul had other plans. These are the happy accidents, and I rarely use the word happy because at the time it doesn't feel that way. This was a happy accident. A publicist asked me what, if I were to pick one podcast that I loved, what would it be? And I said it's called The Constellation Project with a young woman named Bianca Diever. What she didn't say is, where would you like to go for a podcast? This isn't one of those kinds of podcasts. She doesn't have guests. She's a creative genius. She's 30 years old. So my publicist called her and said, can Terry Tempest-Williams come? And she said, I don't know who she is, and I don't do that. And I was so humiliated that I called, when my publicist said that didn't work out, I was just horrified. So I called her and I said, I'm so sorry. What really happened was I said, I loved your podcast, and she didn't know, so please forgive me. I would never be that presumptuous. And she said, well, what do you want to do together? And I said, I don't know, but that's such a wonderful invitation. And she said, well, tell me what you're doing. And I said, well, what I'm doing, and this was in July of 2020, in the heat, literal heat of the pandemic. I said, I'm night walking. And she said, well, that sounds strange. What is it? And I told her that it was so hot because of the fires and the smoke. I had taken to walking at night under the moon and stars. And she said, well, let's do that. So for one moon cycle, it just happened to be new moon, no moon, dark moon, we agreed that we would write letters to each other for a full moon cycle, which was 30 days. So together we wrote 60 letters. And it was a formal practice. We would go out. I was in Utah. She was in Vermont. She was 30. I was 62, 64. And every night we would go out, and then we would compose a letter and read it and send it through an audio voicemail. I fell in love with Bianca, and I relied on her voice every night or morning, like I relied on the rising sun. And I think it was fair to say she did too. At first, it was a little awkward, but then it became more and more intimate until she was saying, how have you been married for 45 years? And I got to say, when you're married this long, there are many channels of love, but Brooke is my main channel. And then I would see her going on night walks with different partners, and what they would mean. I mean, we became intimately entwined in our love lives, in our spiritual life, in our daily life. She was talking about cows and sheep. I was talking about coyotes and ravens. And something happened. Something happened. And when it was over, we both felt both a longing and an emptiness. Bianca ended up having to do a story for the Daily, for the New York Times in LA. And she called me, and she was in a panic. And she said, Terry, can I talk to you? And I said, of course. And she said, I'm in LA. I can't breathe. I can't see the sun. Everything is burning around me. I'm completely disoriented. And when I woke up this morning, what came into my mind was an obituary for the land. Will you write one? And in that moment, honestly, I thought, I don't even believe in that. But when a young person asks for counsel or help, I said, I will try. And she said, thank you. I need it in an hour. And we were having friends over in an hour. We were leaving for town. We were leaving to go see my father up in Wyoming the next morning. I said, I'll have it. And I sat down and I lit a candle. And I want to share with you what came. And I share this because, again, this is the intergenerational vow, promise, joy, heart work that we commit to through love. It's called a burning testament. And this is a 5-minute read. We cannot breathe. This is our mantra in America now. We cannot breathe because of the smoke. We cannot breathe because of a virus that has entered our homes. We cannot breathe because of police brutality and too many Black and brown bodies dead on the streets. We cannot breathe because we are holding our breath for the people and places we love. I was asked to write an obituary for the land, but I realize I am writing an obituary for us, for the life we have lost and can never return to. And within this burning of Western lands, our innocence and denial is in flames. The obituary will be short. The time came and these humans died from the old ways of being. Good riddance. It was time. Their cause of death was the terminal disease of solipsism, whereby humans put themselves at the center of the universe. It was only about them. And in so doing, they had been dead to the world that is alive. To the power of these burning, illuminated Western lands that have shaped our character, inspired our souls, and restored our belief in what is beautiful and enduring, I will never write your obituary. Because even as you burn, you are throwing down seeds that will sprout and flower, trees will grow, and forests will rise again as living testaments to how one survives change. It is time to grieve and mourn the dead and believe in the power of renewal. If we do not embrace our grief and our sadness, they will come out sideways in unexpected forms of depression and violence. We must dare to find a proper ceremony to collectively honor the dead from the coronavirus as we approach 200,000 citizens lost. It is now 1.4 million citizens lost. We must honor their lives engulfed in these Western fires and the lives we will continue to lose from the climate crisis at hand. Only then can we begin the work of restoration, respecting the generations to come as we clear a path toward cooling a warming planet. This will be our joy. Let this be a humble tribute, an exaltation, an homage, and an open-hearted eulogy to all we are losing, to fire, to floods, to hurricanes and tornadoes, and the invisible virus that has called us all home and brought us to our knees. We are not the only species that lives and loves and breathes on this miraculous planet we call Earth. May we remember this and raise a fistful of ash to all the lives lost that it holds. Grief is love. How can we hold this grief without holding each other? To bear witness to this moment of undoing is to find the strength and spiritual will to meet the dark and smoldering landscapes where we live. We can cry. Our tears will fall like rain in the desert and wash off our skins of ash so our pores can breathe, so our bodies can breathe back the lives that we have taken for granted. We can cry. We can laugh. We can hold each other close. I will mark my heart with an X made of ash that says the power to restore life resides here. The future of our species will be decided here, not by facts, but by love and loss. Hand on my heart, I pledge allegiance to the only home I will ever know. Intergenerational love. This beautiful project of keeping the open space of democracy open, of honoring an awakened action together, 10,000 awakened actions in 10,000 rooms, is our joy and our love. What are we taking home? What are we leaving here? We invite you now to take the next 5 or so minutes, maybe 10, and write a letter to yourself. Dearest Denise, dearest Vijaya, this is where I have been. This is what I am leaving. This is what I am taking home. This is my awakened action from my awakened heart in this beloved community. Let us mark this moment for ourselves, in community, in this time, as a gesture of our love and commitment. 10 minutes. And we invite, certainly, obviously, the 10,000 rooms online and from YouTube. ones. Um, let's try to find the last sentences. And then we're going to take a 15-minute break to do whatever you need to do. And then we'll reconvene at 10 after 10 for our last closing and sharing. Thank you. Let us gather online. What happened? Maybe 2 people responding here and 2 people online. And then I have another exercise that we'll do to share again with what we've written. Who would love to share what happened? Yes.
Is this very brief or?
Briefly, yes.
Well, what happened? Am I on here?
Very.
Well, what happened is not brief, but let's see if I can get the essence. I was brought to tears, and I am not a person who cries easily. And I could not get up for break because I needed to finish that letter to myself because it was so important.
Thank you, Mary. Denise.
I've had a lot of things surface. Can you hear me? Okay. I had quite a few things come up this weekend for me, and please no Zoom on me. Thank you. And yeah, it was a nice little sit to write to myself. I didn't write very much. I just was a way to ground myself, remind myself who I am and that I belong. I very much belong always, no matter what, no matter any preconceived notions or religion or race or historical traumas of the US, all of that. I belong. And I'm, so yeah, I wrote that in there and just told myself, like, I'm not any separate from what I've been taught in my traditions. I'm not a Buddhist. I always feel like I have to say that. Yeah, that I'm not separate from anything. I'm not separate from any of the elements, the wind, the plants, the water, all of that, the rocks, the minerals, the universe. Like, I'm not separate from any of that. I'm always connected to it. And knowing that always grounds me so much. And it also makes me feel empty, but not in a bad way. So yeah, it was a nice letter.
Thank you. Wendy, do you have some folks that would like to share what happened to people?
Yes, thank you. Please share briefly so that we can hear. Courtney, I will unmute you. There you go. I can't hear you, even though you're unmuted.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Thank you. So much gratitude to the teachers, and I'm leaving behind a deferral to the strong opinions of patriarchy, as well as a vision and a sense of what true, joyful, open democracy is, a true sense of what we are
moving toward. Thank you.
Thank you. Catherine, I'll unmute you. You're unmuted.
Thank you. Two things happened when you said we had 15 minutes to do whatever we needed to do. I ended up playing with my cat, who really needed to, who's screaming at me because he wants attention. And I wrote a poem. My letter was a poem. What's that?
We just could hear the cat.
Come here, baby. I wrote a poem, and I'll just share the last line. Whomever you be, come into my temporary democracy. I will wrap you in cotton and hold you tight until you become a butterfly.
Thank you. Beautiful. Thank you. In the next minute, we invite you to find one key sentence that you would like to share that really, sometimes when I go through work, there's a sentence that is in neon. Look for that sentence. Time I'm losing track of. I'm just going to be in a trance. Karen, could you share what that sentence is? And we can just have like a popcorn, where people can just share their sentences openly with surrounding the last sentence with spaciousness, so we can all hear. And then Wendy would love to hear from our 10,000 friends online.
No.
Gratitude after all these years.
Can't hear you. Mike.
Now can you hear me? Yes. Gratitude after all these years. For the gift my mother left me. She never left me.
Thank you. No need to raise hands, just follow as you can with spaciousness and respect.
Create the spaces for the nectar. Create the spaces for the nectar of shared sacred story. Remember and trust.
May I step into the space between the aggressor and their intended victim.
I want to leave a trail of love behind my speedboat and behind my airplane.
The story of the night walk told to us by Terry Tempest Williams and the ensuing 30-day writing project made me wonder whether this is something I could do with my father.
Dance with the mystery, trusting that your light will illuminate the way, and the path you are meant to walk in devotion to healing will be clear.
Please feel the comfort of a deep breath. Listen to its sound. Let it grow from a rivulet to a mountain brook, gurgling and rushing, playing and splashing over the rocks.
There is one thing that has been intermittent that needs full expression now, my voice.
Let's create the world that is so deeply needed. The work will be pure joy. Give up the myth that as an elder you've earned the right to be comfortable.
This comfort is a closing, a constriction of your heart.
Wow, thank you.
No more mere incremental steps. Let the wind stir wildly and move you.
Not knowing, here you are again, my friend.
Feelings are for feeling.
Most of what I do know is that I hardly know anything, which cheers me up wonderfully, because the world is still stuffed with astonishment beyond my wildest imagining.
I signed it to myself, kindly, tenderly, with love.
This is helping, I just want to say, that the boundaries around this devastating election must hold strong, but they also must be bordered in roses so that the uncrossable line for a while, is pure and beautiful and utterly honored until it is time to step across.
May I lay in the nest of the brown grass and leaves of the desert winter and cry until my original face falls off and reappears as the original face of the whole earth.
Find solace. You've traveled to places where struggle and beauty live together.
All is possible with interconnection.
We are our own renewable energy.
Pause, breathe, look into the eyes of others, and say you matter. Lead with beauty, joy, and abundance.
Tears, sorrow, joy, and roses, and wonder.
Live into your biggest, most loving self, your deep love for this most extraordinary opportunity called life on earth.
I am renewed. Who I was, who I am now, are more connected in hope and possibilities than I realized before this deeply moving, regenerating weekend retreat.
Thank you. Wendy, let's go to your friends for the next 5 or 10 minutes, and then we'll close with
We'll unmute you, and you can speak your sentence so that we're not both unmuting. So Dee Dee.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. 20 some years ago at Omega, Vincent Harding spoke, and sitting right beside, oh God, it's not one sentence. Oh, Rosemary Harding sat beside Vincent in profound meditation or prayer the whole time. She never said anything, and I thought it was the most profound thing I ever experienced. I wasn't a Buddhist then. I didn't know what she was doing really, but it moved me so that at the end I went up and I kissed her feet. And I felt so, it was shocking. People gasped. We were all sitting on the floor at the very end. And I actually was so moved that I went up to kiss her feet. And she had little nylon stockings on, and she was I felt my lips like hovering over her nylon stockings. And I never kissed anybody else's feet before or since. But I thought, but the result of all this is I thought, yeah, I should kiss my own feet.
Oh, wonderful. I took what I got from all of you about awakened action with me this morning to the farmers market, sharing it with my community there. And Sung gave me a cup of mulberry leaf tea, and I was back in 2 yellow school buses and the iridescent green of mulberry leaves under my feet.
Yeah. Catherine.
This is something that has been in my mind for some time, but I haven't said out loud. Rejoice, the women are arising. I wish that I could leave here my fear because I'm afraid. But I can't because that would be dishonest. And I hope that we'll all find ways to share the feelings of fear and courage. And I'm thankful for this community. Rejoice, the women are rising. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We are rising.
Heather. Go ahead. You're unmuted.
Oh, I was, me, Heather? Okay, I was going to read my whole poem, but it's probably too long. So,
Yes. 1 sentence, please. Thank you.
okay. All right. Can you hear me now? Okay. Move forward within spaciousness, embracing your path consciously, with tenderness and power, truly flourishing.
Thank you. Linda.
I hope for the children that I lead into the redwood forest to fall in love with Mother Earth and want to protect her.
Thank you. Irene.
Remember the power of breath and the dignity of the spine, and the mention of Father Gregory Boyle's new book, Cherished Belonging, capturing the essence of acceptance, compassion, the soul, respect for humanity, all with great humility, another teacher to embrace among those learned ones this weekend. Thank you.
Thank you. Prue.
4 very powerful crone women have sat before us this entire weekend, affirming and validating to continue to weep, weep, and weep as a form of awakened action. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Linda.
Thank you. I will arise each morning knowing that there is good reason to get out of bed and sing.
Kim.
I commit to lead with strength and love.
Annette.
So, my dear heart, keep your heart
Keep your arms wide open, with present both still and engaged. Your heart, a sanctuary. Love and blessing to you. Love and blessing is you. Love and blessing is everyone here.
Elizabeth.
Become a true, soft-hardened elder for all generations, being available to all of life.
Megan.
This is from the Children's Defense Fund that Valerie shared. Dear Lord, be good to me. The sea is so wide, and my boat is so small.
Nancy.
We stand in nature, free, even as it roils, shifts, weeps, and changes.
Colleen.
Thank you, noble and generous teachers. I take away with me a renewed commitment to my mantra. Complacency is not an option. Solidarity, community, kindness.
Thank you. Thank you, our dear friends in the 10,000 rooms. For all of us, may we feel this tenderness toward each other and beautifully toward ourselves, which is so often the hardest place. And as we've learned, to take care of ourselves is to take care of community. I invite you, all of us who have not spoken that essential sentence, today, wherever you are, whenever you feel it is appropriate, to share that sentence with someone that needs it. Because not only did we write that sentence for ourselves, but we wrote that sentence for the whole community, so that each person will have spoken their sentence and hear it back to themselves. The heart is the first home of democracy. Finding beauty in a broken world is creating beauty in the world we find. Roshi.
Again and again, we have turned toward the gift of imagination. Having the heart to imagine a world that is what we want to give to our children, our grandchildren, and also to all species. It takes imagination. And also to put aside the dread. Dread is a poison that is being fed by the extraordinary disinformation that we are subjected to. And what is being called from all of us is the kind of perception that allows us to see how valuable life is when lived for the benefit of others, of all beings. And from this we understand what it means to actualize moral character, what it means to live our values, to send our voice, and to listen deeply, not just to the voices that we want to hear, or to be seduced and made drunk by the voices that are being shouted through our media, but the voices of all species. Over 34 years, slowly by slowly, piece by piece, we have been able here at Upaya to find the means to buy small pieces of land so the whole face of Cerro Gordo Mountain that is not developed will never be developed. The final piece, we're in negotiation right now. It could be an oil lease, as Terry and her husband Brooke. It could be the vacant lot next to your house. We also did the same for the Bosque, south of us, here, the Riverwalk. Again, piece by piece. Sometimes the act that we actualize is invisible. It's in a moment. Sometimes it is an action of legacy for the future. Here at Upaya, we were asked to, by a conservation organization, to cut trails through the face of Cerro Gordo Mountain, and we refused. Why? Those wildlands, under whose authority we are here in this old bean field, are a refuge for deer, bear, bobcat. How do we create a refuge? How do we preserve the wildlands of the heart? How do we not feel that we have to cut trails through every wildland that we know? Can we do this? We can. And we have the imagination to do exactly this. And it takes two very important things. And I thank Genzon, who I think is here in the room somewhere, for reminding me of the value of atonement. All my ancient twisted karma, from beginningless greed, hate, and delusion, born of body, speech, and mind, I now fully atone. It is to take responsibility for where we have come off those rails. Because without doing that, we cannot correct course. Our vows are meaningless without atonement. The things that we are touching into are suffering. We have again and again in this time together turned toward beauty, but also turn toward our suffering and our collective suffering, and also our collective beauty. But our vows are meaningless without actually touching into this first truth that the Buddha articulated as he turned the wheel of the Dharma. our atonement is essential for our commitment to be valid. Our atonement is essential for our commitment to be valid. The second piece has to do with our motivation. We might have wonderful intentions, but do we really understand? Are we really in touch with our motivations? The value of practice in making our motivations, which are at the preconscious level, visible to us, cannot be overemphasized. Stopping, looking deeply, practicing radical self-honesty, and then seeing, why really am I doing this? We don't need bodhisattva buttons, if you know what I'm saying. Awakened action, opening to all life. So in these final moments of being together, I would like to invite, beginning with you, some questions that we cannot answer, but living in the questions, letting the questions come forth. This is how I hope we will close this time together, which is with questions, not answers. So I invite you, please, to begin. And again, just going to the questions.
So
and would you stand up, please? Thank you so much.
So my question is, given that reproductive rights was one of the most divisive issues in this election and in the country, how do we hold the complexity of the sacredness of life, of women's right to agency and control over their bodies, with the fact that when we're doing an abortion, we are taking life? And how do we hold that complexity of the whole of women's experience of wanting to be pregnant, infertility, children that they can't handle? How do we hold all that? I feel like it's all inside of me. I've tried to get pregnant and not been able to. I've worked in the abortion field for many years and in women's health. How do we talk about that with the whole community?
Yeah.
That's the question.
Let's let that question settle in our midst. Thank you. Question. Yes. Please stand.
So in the deepest understanding of impermanence, nothing will last, including the mountains and the rivers. And so when I sit with that, the question is, why do something? And then instantly wells up in me something I cannot stop myself from doing. That's my question. As much as that might not sound like a question.
It's okay to kind of, thank you. Questions? Yes. Please stand.
Hi.
My question is, how do I raise my children, young children, with the practices that are going to give them the most resilience possible as they walk into this world of complexity and enable them to help create the world we want to see?
Thank you for your question.
How do we love well our beloved young men who are good men, but who have sort of fallen into the manosphere? How do we love them well?
Thank you.
How do we celebrate women gathering and arising?
Got one?
How do I carry what I've learned about interpersonal relationships, interpersonal action, into organized action? Because I know I will.
How can I?
Please stand. We have to take a stand. Forgive me.
Thank you. What do I say and advise to women of all ages that are so good at keeping the 9th precept of loving speech, and they don't speak up at all because so much aversion to so-called aggression would be more assertiveness, or so much aversion to henpecking, which would be trying to help?
Yeah. Thank you.
How do I sit in the complexity or the balance between compassion and accountability when harm has been done?
Yeah. Thank you.
I think she just asked my question. Roisin, everyone, you so brilliantly call a spade with genocide. And genocide is not moral. And so what I've been sitting here this whole time, it's exactly the same thing, like with Terry, having this desire to learn.
Question.
How do I reframe? How do I bring out stories of people I think are aggressors, news stories of people that I think are aggressors? How do I engage with them? Because I think from this time, I feel that's what I have to do. So.
Yes.
How do we cross the religious and spiritual divide?
Yes.
How do we enter into open, respectful conversations with others whose beliefs we don't agree with, or especially with those who don't agree with ours?
Thank you. Yeah.
What is this koan of America? And what is its true nature, and how is it the same as mine?
Yeah. Thank you. Some voices in the back. Young, question. Question, Young.
Thank you, Roshi. We are here because we have all passed through many wars. So please remember this. Wars are also roads. Our problem and works is how to convert walls into bridges and doors. Thank you.
Thank you, Yang.
Okay,
see.
And we're going to move online after the next one.
All right, great. Knowing that systems resist change and often need to be disrupted and agitated in order to change, how do we build bridges while disrupting and agitating?
Oh, so, thank you. Wendy La, just questions going to essence.
Nancy.
What has happened to those amazing words and concepts of feminism and nonviolence? They seem to have been scrubbed from how we define ourselves.
Thank you.
Jean.
How can we make the world aware of the urgent need to abolish nuke weapons and the 2024 Nobel Peace winner, Nihon Hidanko? Thank you.
Thank you.
Baltasar, good to see you.
How do I begin with atonement?
Thank you. How do I begin with atonement?
Mary Grace.
How do we listen deeply to Indigenous leaders, to those communities who have already lived through genocide and loss and the harsh impacts of climate change?
Oh, thank you.
Martina.
How can we contribute to giving the young generations access to wisdom?
Yeah, thank you, Martina.
Susan.
How do we find healthy balance in our desire to act for the sake of all life with our need for physical, spiritual, and emotional self-preservation in a society that too often wants to shut such action down?
Yeah. Thank you.
Lindsay.
In the midst of so much biodiversity loss, species loss, human loss, tree loss, what is it to be a death doula to a dying world?
Yeah. Thank you. I'm going to now ask each of my sisters to share the question.
If a question opens a door or opens up the world, how does the response open it further rather than close those doors, close down the way that answers so often do?
Oh.
How do we cultivate courage? How do I play? How do I love?
How can we continue to nourish democracy? Dear friends online, we rest with and awaken two questions. Dear friends on site, we meet each other warm hand to warm hand, really from a space of openness and not knowing. As we have heard, gratefulness and generosity, honesty and authenticity are capacities which we're endeavoring to cultivate for a future to be possible, if I can quote Thich Nhat Hanh. And this powerful book that he wrote and edited many years ago. We have sat together over these days with questions and also with passion. I hope that we can go forward with questions and with passion in this coming time. On behalf of our residents, our community, our staff, those who are part of this Mahasangha, we thank you for showing up. Great gratitude to our friends here. That circle of friendship has become bigger and stronger because of you, through you, with you, including you. I want to invite Noah and Tals to offer a few words, and then we will complete with the 4 vows. You have it down now. But just also, this is not something by rote. These are vows that we are committed to actualize moment to moment in our lives, and we share and bear witness now today. These vows, holding each other close and lightly. Noah G. And Noah, thank you. Oh. You're a good man.
Can I tell you my question?
Yeah.
How can I raise my 3-year-old to be like you all?
Oh. Well, just send her here.
Yeah. Thank you so much for the joy, the tears, the insight, and the inspiration. It's been truly magnificent, and I hope we continue. I mean, we'll do it next year, but there's been a lot of requests to how can we keep doing this. So we'll be cooking some action soup, and we'll share it with you. Please stay in touch with us, and as I think if you'd like to. Through our email list, our newsletter coming out weekly. We have podcasts, Wisdom Library with everything available freely. And this is all basically supported through the generosity of others. Through our members, thank you so much. If you're interested to become a member, please do. And to all of you who have come here to support this place and practice. And yourselves. So thank yourself for giving the gift. And all of you online, thank you for showing up through this intense and powerful weekend. We are happy to share the recordings freely for the foreseeable future, and as long as the internet remains, our recordings shall remain. So, just. Deep bows for all the generosity for everyone, especially our teachers.
Thank you so much.
Housekeeping.
All right, Bodhisattvas. Thank you so much for being here with us as a resident. It's really, really fun to have you here and meet all of you and see you come back. It's really cool to see faces that I've seen for 8 months. So Thank you for being here. This morning, for those who are staying on campus, something that you can help us with is doing the practice of leaving no trace. And that entails when you're packing up your rooms, you will find a linen pack underneath your bed or another bed in the room. And you can make your bed with the linens in that pack and then place your dirty linens in the pack. You can leave the blanket on your bed and then bring the linen pack to the housekeeping garage, which is at the very end of this building. And the housekeeping team will have bags set up with labels so that you can place your items in those bags so that we can wash them. And then anything that you can do to clean your room is so helpful. So cleaning the restroom, giving it a sweep. Not all the rooms have brooms, but you're all friends now, so you can share. And let's see, am I getting everything? Oh, if you're off campus in Abbott's or Buddha, you can leave your linen packs at the front door and we'll pick those up. And you can bring your keys back to River House and place them in the box in the front. And I don't know if anyone's staying with us longer, but if you are, you can do all of this when you depart. And a few other things. Oh, this is your best friend. This is the sheet that's in the linen pack, and it has directions for everything that I'm saying. A few other things. Oh, when you bring your linen packs over, Manny will be manning the garage. And he has worked really hard on organizing and setting up. Oh my gosh, we have a model. Are you Paya merch? That's so cool.
And Noah is the merch king. He really loves the whole thing of shopping. So.
Oh my gosh. So you'll be able to purchase. Yeah, do you have a question?
Yes. Those of us that are commuters,
Yes.
is there anything that we can do to help
Yeah.
for the campus and residents?
Yes, you can. Feel free to help others who are packing their rooms and cleaning. You can hang out in the library.
But what about here?
Oh yeah, you can help us clean up in here. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
We appreciate
Carrie.
that. Yeah, that's greatly helpful.
Many chairs to put away, pillows, the floor, everything.
And then you can relax. But first you can shop with Manny.
I actually need help organizing some sweatshirts, so.
Okay, you can help Manny too.
Thank you.
Also, the bookstore will be open as well. And I was just handed this phone. Is this anyone's phone? It has a background of mountains.
Oh, that's mine. Thank you.
Yeah. What else do I have? So, Rebecca and Terry will be having an open table during lunch to chat about writing. And we will also have a book signing after lunch. And I think that's all I've got. Residents, for all of us, if you can please meet your steward after this. We'll be in Samu together till 12:30. Yes.
About Donna.
Oh, yeah. For Donna, if you'd like to give in person, we have envelopes at the front desk. And then I believe we sent an email with a link in the email that you can donate with. So we appreciate, thank you for that question. Any other questions?
Really, thank you. Oh, and if you want to donate a tree, we have a dozen more trees that we want to plant. Of the many, many, many trees you see here, there was not a tree here when I arrived here in 1990. So we're finishing a 34-year project of reforesting, regroving, rewilding. So feel free also.
Announcement?
Would it be okay for me to make the announcement?
Yes, please. Stand, please.
Yeah, so I am speaking to you on behalf of
Allah Hamoudi, a friend of mine, whose family is in Gaza. Allah came here 5 years ago on a fellowship, and she and her family remain here. I have been helping her to raise money until the Rafah Gate was closed for her family to leave, and now to help feed them and to secure medicine. They know how to get the supplies because they're Gazans, and they know how to support the people who need the most. And so I gave Noah the link for a GoFundMe. I cannot give that to all of you, but could it be on the resource page?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
And if anyone wants to hand me checks or dollars, I will make sure it gets there.
Thank you.
And I just have to say, it's important for me to say, I'm Jewish. I was raised in an explicitly Zionist home. And this is a breaking of a story. So, thank you all.
Thank you so much. The four Bodhisattva vows.
One other thing, if residents can stay to help clean up the Taizondo, that would be great. Thank you.
Let me respectfully remind you, life and death are of supreme importance. Time passes swiftly and opportunity is lost. Let us awaken, awaken. Do not squander your life. And now we hug.
Appreciate that. Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Well, it's so interesting when I was pitching it. I didn't know what genre it would be in. Maybe a little bit more. Yeah. So I got to see what out there. Sure. But he's got like a memoir course. Yes, that's old platforms. No, it's just like collective help. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're stuck with some of those things. Yeah. So that's where the knock on life is. Yeah. I when I lived next door, and then I did I did enjoy it. I did have this feeling. I'm so happy for it. This is all the way the way it feels. You know,